done on the phone?
I am done.
Oh. Oh, because I always usually call you and you're like really tired, so I'm calling a little bit earlier.
You called at the right time. But I'm going to go to the office so that I can not disturb Tom listening to the news.
All right. Do you want me to call you back?
Do you want to turn it down, or do you want me to go up? Hey? No, it's Jared. So he's going to turn down the radio and listen to us.
So he's learning too.
Yeah. So what's new?
What's new with me? Me, I just been reading things on learning little insights about masonry. Learn insights with the words, daily things with the words, languaging, the esoteric things. Like I see little insights. I watched the Harry Potter movie, all the Harry Potter movies, and they put stuff in that movie, but it wasn't like other movies I watched. I guess because it was really popular. It was really popular. But it was made really popular, and the movies I noticed. You did mention that like some movies that are not like told like the critics are told it's bad, usually have something in them.
Yep. So. Well, it couldn't have been written by a woman.
Yeah. And they always use these priests with long beards and long hair. They're the wise ones, and that names I noticed in like Lord of the Rings, this movie, it's always Ganondorf or Dor. Always have Dor in their name, and that's a link to Aaron's rod, I guess, right?
Well, that's my name, Dumbledore.
Dumbledore. Yeah, Dumbledore. You look like they do look like you, man. You look just like those guys.
Dumbledore is for the Tudor kings of England. Tudor kings.
Oh.
Always an exit. Front door and a back door.
That have to do with time? Like
it has to do with escape.
Yeah, because that reminded me of like that window of opportunity that you say. Oh.
They have a double door in Greenland. Where there's an entry and an exit in 2 different time zones. The line goes right between the 2.
Yeah, Dana showed me some things that you were telling him about, like with the how they convey messages through geography and like clouds through the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Wow! Like, how did
Clouds are very important in communication because they're the most appropriate vehicle for putting in sfumato.
Sfumato.
A word that means imagery that doesn't belong are hidden within other images, and the clouds are the most appropriate because you can make them whatever shape you want. And they usually show faces of cats or lions or elephants and a lot of people. And if you look at them closely, you can recognize some of the faces. I've been there once.
Really? What do you think that they're trying to say?
Well, it's impossible to know for certain until a cataclysmic event occurs, and then you can look at it in hindsight. But in foresight, this year seems to have been a whole year of diversion. So they're putting in all kinds of things but doing nothing about it. So it's to make people cry wolf or be discredited for saying something's going to happen when it's not, that kind of stuff. But Canada, Environment Canada, is the most important place for that kind of stuff. EC basically means here, phonetically. Environment Canada, EC.
Yeah, I thought that was with that word, that one thing in the code, is in PT. That means little.
Yeah, petit.
Yeah. Or you could say
Medici, EC again, but with an I. Medici. Medi, EC.
What was the importance of that family? Because they were involved. I know, like.
Well, they're the media. They're the headquarters of the international conglomerate media.
Because I remember, I think Machiavelli worked for that family.
Yeah. So they were the financiers, and Lorenzo was one of the most important ones. And so when you see Rennes, like they have on the net, there's Rennes, a website, or the St. Lawrence River and Gulf, that basically links them directly to that group. In England, you have the Spencers, the Spence. That gives you that ence again, as in Lorenzo.
So these families, like Merovingians, they're all. Would you consider them like a priest type of thing, or?
They're all linked to laboratory manufactured people. Got to remember that when you make somebody in a laboratory, that genetic makeup is passed down for 4 generations. So they control basically 100 years around the one that was manufactured. Always, the cops and the professionals, whether they be doctors, lawyers, or athletes, or what have you, they're always linked to those families. Policemen are important.
Yeah, I've noticed too. Like they make a fact, like kings and queens, and they always make it's like almost like a social thing. They make like they have to be pure blood. With the whole.
Well, blood is just a code word for DNA.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as a bloodline. It's only a DNA line. You don't pass on blood, you pass on DNA.
Right. Yeah, so what they did in the past, these people who help manage in the system, they would breed these people, but they started recently, like in, I guess, Japan, is when they started doing it on a mass scale.
Yeah, they breed them for the military, they breed them for the police, they breed them as athletes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Doctors and lawyers.
Really? Do you think doctors and lawyers are bred? Really?
Yeah. Media.
Oh.
Medicine. Medi is media. Cine is movies.
Huh. I'm trying to find out what...
Doctors always have sons who want to be doctors.
Huh. Like around here, like, you'll see a lot of Indians and Asians who be in the medical.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's maybe related to breeding, like.
Yeah, it takes a special kind of
mind,
brain, usually one that is ROM in approach, read-only memory.
Mm-hmm.
So everything they get from a book. They're not basically having to figure out things. They just follow the book.
Oh, that's interesting that you say that, because I think of it like some people that I know, like, they have to kind of read things in a book.
Yeah, same thing with religious people, Bibles and Quran and any of the religious books follow on the lead of Confucius. They just confuse us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the phone. Okay.
Is that your
that's my
neighbor or your...
That's my mother.
Your mother?
She had to tell me something. She's, me, like the whole story, me and my family, Glen, is, like, I'm sort of like, I guess like an outsider in a sense.
A what?
I'm like an outsider, but... like,
black sheep.
Yeah,
yeah. Bad for a black man. You wouldn't want to be a white sheep in the family.
Yeah. And, I don't know. I'm still trying to find out, because you find out, I don't know how hard it was for you to find out, like, how you came to be, you know, because you said you were...
Well, it's always understanding the premise that genetic engineering is possible.
Yeah.
And when nothing else answers the questions in your own life, then you start looking at, is it possible that I was? In my case, everything fits. Well, I am reliving the story of Akhenaten. Everybody in my world are linked to that story. That goes back to about 1500 BC. He was married to Nefertiti.
Yeah.
Titi. Although they spell it T-E-T-E. Tête in French means head.
Yeah, yeah.
He had 6 girls.
Oh, that's the one married, supposedly the priest set him up.
Yeah.
They thought, they made the people think that he married their sister.
Yeah, well, in Egyptian society, you could not become a pharaoh because the lineage was always through the woman. But the woman could not become a pharaoh. It had to be the husband of the woman. So they all, before they could become pharaoh, had to marry somebody who was in line in the woman's lineage. So you ended up having grandfathers marrying their granddaughter in order to be pharaoh.
And that wasn't looked at as, was it looked at?
No, that was considered quite normal. The only thing in the Egyptian society that wasn't considered normal was sex with your mother. The male having sex with the mother was only considered normal in Persia.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Not just normal, it was a
way of life,
a necessity to promotion.
Oh, man.
And that's why Akhenaten was said to have had a relationship with his mother, because he was not raised in Egypt.
Oh,
he was raised in northern, what we would call Iran today, near Lake Van, probably in a place called Hurry, in a country called Mitanni. Annie.
The hurry, I remember in a post you put something like that, like hurricane. Yeah. Is that linked to that? Oh.
Yeah. That's where the cane came from. He left the garden, went off to be a builder of society.
Yeah, they never mentioned how he produced, because supposedly it's him and his brother and his father.
Abel.
Yeah. And they don't mention, like, who they reproduce with.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he had sex with his own mother or something. Huh?
Probably.
Huh.
That's why you have the serpent that eats its own tail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I think the serpent also represents, too, like, cunning.
Wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom. Yeah. But when you look at the animal, some people, you could compare it, I guess, to cunning, because how it strikes. Thinking it might be linked to that or something.
Well, you have the boa that is a constrictor. Have the other one that comes out of the basket and dances.
Oh, the python. I think a cobra. Cobra. Yeah. Yeah.
The name for a female is Barbara.
Barbara.
Yeah. Bra. Cobra. Two bra. Bra. Bar. Bra.
Yeah, just over this past week, I've been listening to a lot of, I think I told you this before, a lot of Manly P. Hall. Have you ever looked into his stuff?
At what?
Manly P. Hall?
Yeah, a long time ago.
What did you think of him, his stuff?
Well, he's the man of the Y, because he's got L-E and a Y name. P means he's a teacher, a transmitter of information. Hall is basically la, feminine approach to doing things.
Yeah, because
so he's a male-female who's transmitting information.
Because he, he'll give you some good insights into certain things, but for a lot of stuff, everything is a psychological consciousness type of thing. I'm just like, oh man, he just misleading everybody.
Yeah, well, he has to confuse.
Yeah.
Confucius confuses.
But he did have some, like he was talking about one theory of when he goes into the creation mythology and stuff, I thought it was interesting. He talks about how they call it the spore theory, how a comet came here and there was started some type of reaction in life, like the stuff like that he talks about. Yeah. I got insight from that.
That's how life is made and life is changed, is by new chemistry arriving from the root cloud, which is called the Oort cloud.
So we came from the Oort cloud then, right?
Everything comes from the Oort cloud. That's the repository of the leftovers of the Big Bang.
Oh. Because I think about that, how did life get started anywhere? What is it that you call it creation, but
Well, there's a creation is what sets science in motion. It has rules by which it operates. Those rules are based upon a scientific formula, which all the scientists are looking for. The root of all of this is in a unified theory of the universe. And
they can't get it because the whole thing with the particle accelerator, you said they've never, with the whole quarks, they said they've never seen it actually?
That's right. They haven't seen the action take place.
But they can explain it, so.
Yeah. And their big problem is gravity. Gravity, as we know it, began in the first half second of the Big Bang.
Wow.
And it was different before the Big Bang. That's why the unified theory of the universe doesn't work the way they explain it in science, because it fails to explain the Big Bang. So they have to do the particle accelerator stuff in order to find out what gravity did before it became gravity as we know it.
Like, I think about, like, how, because people say, like, there had to be, like, a cause or a first cause. Like, what do you think it was, like, some type of comet in space or something that collided with something, or?
Well, my guess, because that's all you have, educated guess, is that a big bang expands until it begins to contract into a big crunch. It's a matter of going from a singularity and returning to a singularity, where everything is all compacted together, and at one point it then explodes and does it again. So this eternity that we're living in, this universe, as part of that eternity, is only one step in an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Each step is designed to teach lessons.
Yeah. That's what my guess of, like, how life was, because you said DNA is everywhere, so DNA had some information in it to start with something.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I guess. And
well, it starts with the quarks and
there was some type of information in there. Yeah.
The hadron.
So there had to be information in that for it to even know to do that. I guess some instruction. So then, I guess over time, it gained more knowledge and came tougher.
It's interesting that they use the name hadron, same structure in the word NORAD. The gang of people who watch the possibility of rockets coming over northern hemisphere from Russia.
You know what I feel like, though? When they come out with these, like, they say, oh, we found this new bone, like, that's them just, like, basically, we're like dogs and just throwing up scraps and we just run into it.
We arrive at a point in learning where they need to move us forward. So they give us the next step, and then we move there and start learning about that. And when we're done that, they give us another piece of information and we move there. But they don't want to give it to their worst enemies. They give it to their best friends. And that way they can control empires. And they can give and they can take. Harm and assist. So,
the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Yeah, and right now they're taking away from the U.S.
Yeah. But they're giving it to the Asia, right?
Yeah, well, in transition they're giving it to Asia because that's where it came from. But in reality, Asia is downloading it to the southern hemisphere. Brazil, South Africa.
Because I thought like places like groups like the Theosophical Society, I thought their job was basically like a merger of bringing it back to Asia, like part of the whole Rico.
Bringing it back to Asia means eventually ending up in India. Now, all you have to do is follow what India is doing, because it's going to receive everything, and what they're doing is most important. And what they're doing is downloading to Brazil. Speak to anybody who lives in Rio, and they'll tell you that most of the activity in Brazil is the end product of Hindu involvement. And the big statue of Jesus is called the Redeemer. So he's cashing in. Cashing in his chips.
Yeah, it's interesting they put it in South America. Cool. Yeah, I seen something that you... Actually, yeah, I seen something that you mentioned to Dana with the black balls.
Yeah.
That's that's interesting how you find all these communication devices they use. I guess methods they use. That's interesting. Like, have you been able to read like architecture of
Everything has symbolisms.
Yeah, it's all communication.
Right now, the symbolism that's important is Colossus. Everybody wants to make things bigger. Right now in Ottawa, this week, they announced a project to make a Colossus out of the Stanley Cup that is used in hockey as the top prize in hockey. So they're going to raise funds to put up the biggest version of a trophy in Ottawa. Of course, hockey, if you read the word, it's connected co-key, the second key.
Well, it has O-E-N-E in it.
Well, the first key is held by the Pope, and the second key is held by the nuns. So this region is basically the world of the female that's really a male. Then you look at UBS, Skull and Bones, Bass, UBS. They have 3 keys. So they're the third key.
Third key.
They're the key to genetic engineering. Coprolite. Cops and pros.
How did you find out about the coprolite? Through encyclopedia? Just one day going through it?
Yeah, it was partly that and partly my upbringing that led me to believe that I was genetically engineered, and then tracing the word regal. Go again. Gore, Al Gore, which is just regal. Gore is a 3-sided piece of cloth or land. Parachutes are made of gores. They're assembled triangles.
And in the movies, the big craze right now is gore. So I guess the message they're telling us is so regal. And I noticed that name. It's in when I was looking up the things on like the temples and stuff, they said one name for a coffin is Soros. They call it Soros. And then there's a guy, one of the guys that works for him. His name is George Soros.
Yeah, well, the guy that funded the campaign against the Bushes for the Democrats was George Soros.
Yeah. And his name, George, is Rigo, and Soros, I guess they're saying, is bringing back from the dead.
Yeah, Zoros is basically ruse.
Yeah, that too.
So it's the ruse to bring things back. George, Rigo, bring it back, and Soros is basically your ruse.
What's going on with what you were saying before when I last talked to you about the what they were doing underground?
Right now, they have announced that in November, the particle accelerator at CERN will be restarted. Will begin its experiment in identifying the proper hadron to collide. Chicago at Fermi are working on the same project, and they believe that they've now isolated the right hadron, and they have a possibility of beating CERN to the punch, getting it done first. Either way, you're dealing with doing something underground that doesn't belong underground, can't go there naturally. And the dangers of it being done underground are completely underreported.
Well, Glenn, man, like I don't know, like so with that, like the security, they didn't tell you, so you don't think that it's them digging underground, or it's just a possibility?
What is happening underground has been triangulated. That's why I spent 3 nights in the bush this week. The cell has triangulated it, and for their purposes have identified what it is. They haven't told me what it is. They've just told me where it is. From what I can figure out, it seems to be more a mechanical activity.
So if it's a mechanical, I can just like they're digging it right underneath your nose type of thing.
Yeah. It could be a conveyor type of system, because the area of this rock underground is much larger than just our farm here. And what I've suspected is that this end of it is used for 2 things, storage and aquaculture. So if they're bringing stuff in, it would need a conveyor type of equipment to bring it and put it on shelves someplace. That's why they have reinforced concrete patio blocks around here, even though there's no building that required reinforced concrete patio blocks. So that would have to be used underground. Cement plant is just up the road. They're no longer making anything there, just using it as a marketing place. But it has all the equipment, could be reopened tomorrow, make more reinforced concrete blocks. If it's a aquaculture, growing vegetables or whatever in water, it would require some kind of conveyor mechanism as well to move it further up the line to the place closer to the railway track or the river where people would be sent in and get out underground and then get on a train during the night. The trains, we were listening to the sound of the whistles as they come through this area. I don't think I've ever heard of a place anywhere in Canada that has so many whistles from trains during the night. They're not just whistling. They're doing Morse code. So they're telling an audience at almost every half hour as another train goes by a different story. So I imagine that different groups of people are told, well, you listen at 4:30, these other people listen at 5, the third group listens at 5:30, the next group listens at 6. So everybody has their own time slot, and if they read Morse code, they're being given a message about what's being planned for that day or that week, that kind of stuff.
When I look at all this stuff, as I see more and more, it's like we live in a phone. It's just one big communication device.
Absolutely.
Like, wow.
Abel, she's the mother.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about going to the museum. They call it the Museum of Modern Art. The acronym is MAMA.
Yeah.
MoMA. So I know that's something, and I know I'll go look in all these. I was talking about going with Dana, and I know there's all types of messages in the paintings.
Yeah. Guggenheim.
Yeah, that's another one they have with that stuff. So yeah, because I'm looking
to the Basques.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. And to the miners, because the Guggenheim family was metallurgy, mining, all of that stuff. That's where they made their money.
So is that linked to Cain too? Because when you look at when they built the temple, Hiram was cunning in brass and metallurgy.
And they were building Holy of Holies that had holes in them. You could steal stuff.
That's why he called it that. Well, they got the little jokes, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Got to give them credit for at least making it fun.
Yeah, I was just looking at a picture of, her name is Frida something. Frida, what's the last name?
Fred.
Huh?
Fred.
No, Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo. It was because I went on the museum's website. And I think she was like some type of queen or something. And I'm looking at a picture of her. You can look it up on the internet. She has like she looks like a man and she probably was pop.
Well,
man.
if you look at the original version of females that were made for males, they're all male-looking.
Really?
Yeah. And Nefertiti was the first one who basically looked more like a female.
What? So
Hatchet's put there, the first female pharaoh of Egypt lived about 100 years before Nefertiti. And we've got the same thing here. If you look around and you say, okay, Golda Meir was the first one after World War II. She was about as butch-looking as you could get.
Yeah.
And then you have Margaret Thatcher. Then you have Hillary Clinton. So it's kind of moving in a direction of looking more and more female. You end up with Carla Bruni.
let me get this
Brown
straight.
vehicle.
Yeah. Let me get this straight. So, my whole view is warped, probably. Original females looked more like men, you say?
No, original females that were male inside looked more masculine, and therefore were not the best prospect for use in the future. So they had to modify the DNA to bring it slowly towards looking more feminine. But that's a tough job when you're basically using a man's physique, 6 foot, 6'1", having to make it look feminine. So they've had a pretty tough job. But as you can tell by looking at Carla Bruni, pretty well succeeded. Nobody can imagine a topless, good-looking woman as being the next Hitler, Stalin.
Yeah.
It was easy to hate Hitler or Stalin because they could be demonized. Yeah. That's almost impossible to do, as you saw in the last U.S. election.
Well, I think Hillary did. She got a little demonized, like.
Yeah, but look at the one from Alaska.
Oh yeah, that was another one. Yeah,
That's the next step.
She's a Carla Bruni
up from
type.
Hillary.
Yeah. Wow, man.
You talk to anybody about the governor of Alaska during the last election, and you say, yeah, boy, would I like to be in the sack with her.
Yeah.
Come on, she's stupid. That doesn't matter.
So do you think, like, these, a lot of them, what are they, like, hetero? Are they like other women or men or whatever? What?
I would imagine that they like themselves more than anybody else. They will do whatever is required to win. So they could hate somebody and sleep with them if that's going to advance their cause.
Damn, man, that's a cold as ice.
You can get 25-year-old girls sleeping with 75-year-old men if that advances their cause.
That's
they don't care.
Yeah. What was the story that that one lady who was murdered? She was married to a rich man.
Yeah, the one in Florida.
I think she was like a porn star or something like that. Or?
Yeah. And she had a baby.
And then her son
by him. And it's more likely to have been a clone of him. He didn't want to give up his fortune. She made a deal. She would carry him to term as a baby girl.
But didn't they kill the child too?
No, they killed her real son.
Yeah.
He was in his late teens or early 20s.
I don't understand, like, what. How does she benefit the system?
Well, she produced a baby, which was the most important thing.
But even the babies.
And she was stupid, so they could play games around her and control her every move. And when the task was done, they had to get rid of her and transfer the baby to a guardian. And they had this guy come out and declare that the DNA guaranteed that it had been this photographer from Hollywood who had been the father of the child, when in fact it's the old man who is being replicated. There was no real father, just genetic engineering activity. Can't come out and say that.
Yeah. Because that's illegal now, right? Yeah. And that's the whole allegory in the movie The Sixth Day, how they clone people and type of stuff.
The minute you make one, you have a lineage of 100 years, 4 generations.
So that's what I think I am sometimes. Like I might just be part of the
I am. There's no doubt about it.
But you seem to be more directly right in the lab somewhere, and they just put you somewhere.
Yeah, but you too. Yeah. You know, you come from Haiti.
Yeah, but that's more like they did it, and maybe I'm probably like generations down.
Yeah. Well, Haiti is artificial insemination.
Yeah.
It connected to artificial insemination. That's why they kept it poor, because they didn't want outsiders to be going there and visiting. They needed to do a lot of stuff in secret.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things
to do that is keep it poor.
So what do you think was going on in Dominican Republic? What's their role?
Same thing. That's the place where Christopher Columbus landed, and it marked the beginning of a new Phoenix, 1492.
I noticed all these Latin countries, they had these orders, these priests, basically settling over there, and religion, make the people religious or whatever. Like all these like Colombia, they're all like Catholic missionaries. A lot of them went to these countries.
Yeah, well, that was their real role.
Yeah.
They pretend they're there to save. Yeah. The only people they want to save is themselves. Improve their own conditions. At the VAT, I can.
And these saints.
V8, VAT, V8.
And yeah. It also has AI in it too.
No.
And these saints. What happened?
I came. That it can. I can. Cane. CAIN.
Yeah, I noticed these saints too. They have from what I learned, like they're all like, when you really look into them, they're all like learned. This is what Manly P. Hall said. They said they're all learned in mysticism and esoteric doctrines. All of them, the saints. When you look at all of them.
Well, saint is Nazi.
Yeah.
Nazi is ain't.
Yeah.
And basically mirroring the tane is the thing that makes a mirror possible. The sheet at the back of the mirror causes the reflection.
Yeah, when I get over there, you wouldn't mind if I just bring you some movies? Because I wanted you to see some movies.
All depends on how much time I have.
I mean, you don't have to watch it with me. I mean, I'll leave it for you.
Yeah. Cold winter days.
Those are coming up. So.
You have them on what, on disc or on?
Disc.
On tape?
I have it on disc.
The new computer that was sent to me from California doesn't work. Whoever played with it may have done something to it, or it may have been in it before I received it. I don't know. But in any event, I can't use it. I need somebody who understands modern computers to see if they can clean it out.
You know what I could do for you? I was thinking about this. Maybe I could, like, me and somebody else could pitch in. I could get you a new computer, but I can't guarantee what's going to happen to it after that, because of who you are. You know, you'll just go out on...
They're constantly trying to limit my ability to gather information.
Yeah.
And I tried loading a disk in there, and it tells me that the memory is full. Well, it wasn't full when it arrived. All of a sudden, it's full now. How do you get rid of it? You know.
Yeah. But I can get you some brand new, up-to-date computer, but and get you all anti-this, virus, whatever, spyware. But
they're the ones who bring you most of the viruses.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Like I'm constantly, I run it, and I get like spyware, but like sometimes I think
what I need is a guy like you who can sit in front, and I say, okay, get me this.
Yeah.
And you do it.
Yeah.
And you keep it running, because I don't have the time necessary to learn all of that stuff over again. I've got too much to learn directly associated to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, when you started overstanding, when you actually started, was it age that brought the overstanding as getting older?
No, it was time.
Mm.
You could learn it when you're young,
mm-hmm.
if you have the basic information that I am providing to people
mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
But in my days, nobody had it. Nobody knew. They all had a gut feeling
mm-hmm.
that there was something there, but they didn't have any words for it.
Yeah.
And it was just my persistence. Can a city, tenacity.
Yeah, me, when I see the like when I look at something or look at it and I start overstanding, it's like really astounding, but hello?
Yeah.
I wonder how can I explain it to other, like the only people I can really explain things to are people who are on the same trail.
Yeah.
And it's other people who, they know about the stuff, but they haven't, I guess, say advanced in that type.
It's a journey that requires time.
Yeah.
And if you're on the learning process, then eventually you get it.
Yeah.
But not too many people want to participate. They would rather wait for the kick in the ass.
Yeah. Well, when I get up there, I want to learn everything. I don't want to just learn this part. I'm trying to learn everything. Or
it can't happen overnight. That's why osmosis.
Yeah.
Scotty said, when he came here,
mm-hmm.
He knew before he came that what there was to learn couldn't be learned in a seminar or a week. He had to live it.
Yeah.
And he spent 50 days, and he wants to come back first thing in the spring. So
I might just spend the summer.
It's the most interesting time in his life.
Yeah. I might just spend the summer there. Think about it. I could probably spend the summer there and just...
That's okay.
Oh, man. That's going to be an experience, though, man, because...
Things are happening all the time.
Yeah, I just don't want to... Like, say I just leave. I'm like, all right, Glenn, I'll go to my grandmother or something, and something happens. Some type of people. I mean, I know I'm going to probably meet some... Actually, I got an email from this kid. He's actually from Canada, too. His name is Glen Kealey. Right? And, he said some things to me. He said, oh, yeah, I was thinking about joining the fraternity and all this stuff. Because he said he's seen my blog and he noticed your stuff. He found it interesting. And I was telling him, I haven't spoke to him in a while. And then all of a sudden he says, he goes, I agree with order. I disagree with chaos. I agree with extropy and disagree with entropy. I want unity with the supreme. I am high society. I have sided with the intelligent. I dislike conspiracy theorists. And am proud that our society protects us from the mentally deranged and unfit. That's in there. He was just telling me, I don't
be a slave.
Yeah.
I love being a slave.
Yeah, I couldn't. I guess I don't know, man. He just wants I guess the easy way. It seems like the easy way at the moment.
Short-term, instant gratification.
Yeah.
That's what he's after.
Yeah.
And you can't reason with a person like that.
Oh yeah, I don't even bother.
I got a call today from somebody you know.
Yeah.
And he also wants to come. He's from Connecticut.
Oh.
I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Toilet." I said, "Oh, Elliot, eh?"
Toilet. Oh, I think was he telling you Tyler or does he? Or
Toilet, he said.
Toilet.
That's Elliot.
Elliot. Oh. Well, this guy, I just started talking to him. I don't know him too well, but I spoke to him maybe twice over the phone. And I remember him telling me his name was Toilet. He said his name was Tyler. People call him Tyler. I guess I don't know. Why would he tell you that?
I asked him. I said, "What's your first name?" He said, "Toilet," because I've already printed on the site that our former Prime Minister was Pierre Elliott Trudeau. So Pierre is a rock, Elliott is a toilet, and Trudeau means a water hole. So toilet is a water hole. So he's like, toilet, toilet.
Wow. Oh.
And Trudeau, if you just use the letters, your Tru is turd. Trud, Turd. Turd in water is what you get in a toilet. So that's why his second name is Elliot.
Oh.
But he's dead now. His son Justin is just in time. Anyways, Jared, I gotta go do some work to prepare for tomorrow's post.
I like the post, but that post on the Antichrist. You said Antichrist. To be Antichrist, you would have to be anti-human.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Christ is human. Christ is humanity. It wasn't some guy that lived 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's us today.
Yeah.
We are all Christ.
I thought America, especially Western.
Yeah. All linked to the IRS, which is linked to the French version Revenu.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah.
Rego.
Yeah.
All comes down to the same thing. And Venu comes from Venus, the Eastern Star.
Oh, so that's what Venus is. So I seen another post you put on. I guess this is in response to that police officer who charged you. Oh. Whatever happened to that other guy? It was like a Mason, one of the Masons who emailed you to tell you that you were right.
He never answered. When I answered him back and said, if you are who you say you are, you will send it to me on your letterhead from your headquarters. And he answered, or somebody answered, yes, I will. And then nothing ever happened. So if he was who he said he was, I'm sure the ceiling fell fell down on him,
Mm-hmm.
all of his cohorts in the world would have come down and said, "Are you crazy? Don't talk to Kealey. You never get the last word with him." Decided not to go ahead.
To those Masons, so have you ever had like Masons who were like, "Wow, I never knew like that, Kealey," and
Yeah, I've had a lot of meetings where Masons have attended. Masons and their wives have attended. Mason would argue with me, and the wife would say, no. That's exactly what you do. So, I mean, Masons are not important except as a vehicle by which the system gets access to women.
yeah, they're just drones. It's like when they built the cathedrals, they had these Masons, and all they did was just follow orders of how to build the buildings, and then
that's all they do. They're just slaves.
Yeah.
They drive the getaway car.
Yeah.
They're not important in their own right. The important is the woman.
Yeah.
And most of their wives, I would suggest, if not all of them, are we men, not women.
Yeah, and I seen too, like when I was reading encyclopedia, one of the definitions